This week, I want to talk about something that a lot of people struggle with, and is something that we all should embody. And one of the biggest lies that's told about it is they believe that it should come from action. And so, what I'm talking about is confidence. People think confident people are fearless people, and that's not all true. Most confident people are actually terrified before they make any decision, especially a life changing one. And the difference is that they stop allowing their fear to make their decisions for them. And this is so important because as somebody who has been coaching for a few years, I taught fitness for over a decade. I see this thing where people think I'm overly confident. And I was like, oh no, before I had this my retreat, I had fear. I had moments where I questioned myself. What if people don't sign up? What if I fail publicly? What if I can't carry the emotional weight of this? Because when you're talking about, a woman's transformation, that's huge and it's heavy. What if I invest all of this money and energy and heart in something and it doesn't work out the way I hoped it, to work out, right? So I felt all the emotions and still move forward anyway. In that experience, I promise y'all, it's changed me because I realized confidence doesn't show up before you actually move, especially when you're talking about doing something new in your life. Confidence shows up after you survive the thing you were scared to do. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Self Love Sunday. I'm Tarnissha Sass, the host of Self Love Sundays with Sass, where I come every single Sunday to talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And I want to talk about this too, because, when you start to feel that confidence, people may talk about, hey, so and so needs to be more humble. But I want to talk about that for a second because I think a lot of people misunderstand what humility actually means. And also, this is a word, humility also stops people from doing the things that they are called to do. So somewhere along the way, I think they started thinking humility started using humility as like permission, right? To stay small and disconnected from their power, to be hesitant, unsure, and afraid to fully own what they carry. But humility does not mean pretending you are less than who you are. Humility simply means understanding we're no better than anyone else, right? However, and we are different. We have different gifts, abilities, different callings. Some people are called to be leaders. We have different forms of wisdom, and it's like people get this twisted. It's like, it's not that we're better than anyone. However, we are different, and you should have confidence in your difference. And not that you should have it, but we're going to talk about how to actually obtain it. And it's one of those things where, yes, you are different. You should be proud of that. I need to say that today. So many people are not proud of their differences. You got to be proud of yourself. Confidence and humility can absolutely exist together because confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance needs constant validation, attention, superiority, and comparison. That's how you know it's arrogant, though. But confidence moves differently. So real confidence is quiet enough to keep learning, grounded, and enough to stay teachable, right? So it keeps you learning, keeps you in a growth state, it keeps you grounded, it keeps your feet on the ground, it keeps you coachable and teachable and secure enough not to diminish other people in order to feel valuable. Right. So confidence is a very, very different. Confidence is walking in a room knowing you belong there, knowing you were sent there for a reason. And that's confidence. So you walk in like how you belong. And I think some people are terrified of becoming confident because they associate confidence with ego. But confidence is really trust. Confidence is what happens when your mind, in actions and values all start to align together. Okay. And so you trust yourself more because you stop abandoning yourself every time fear shows up. So the opposite of confidence is fearful, right? So you don't abandon yourself every time fear shows up. A person who constantly shrinks themselves is not necessarily humble. I want to say that too, because people think, oh, I'm just being humble. That's not necessarily it. Sometimes, and I said sometimes, they are simply afraid of being seen. Because to be seen is to be held accountable for something too. Okay, being held accountable for your gift. And if you can't find confidence in yourself right now, because everybody doesn't, I didn't, like I said, I didn't have it before I walked into the retreat. But here's what I did, and I want you to do this too. Start with having confidence in what God is going to do to you and through you. That's the game changer. It's not about having confidence in yourself. It's about having confidence when you first start doing something, because again, if you think you need to have confidence, you won't do it. It's having confidence in what God is going to do to you and through you. Okay. And so let me give my disclaimer really quickly. I'm not here to tell you who and what your God should be. That is simply upon you. However, and I'm going to say having a spiritual foundation is everything. So whoever you call your God, you should have confidence in what they are going to do. Okay. So your belief in God does not wait. And let me tell you something, does not have to wait on your belief in yourself, because I get it. You're not going to always feel that way, but have confidence in your spiritual leader. Listen, I have so much confidence in what God is going to do most times. Even when I started doing these videos, I wasn't so sure of myself, but I knew there was a message. I knew there was something that he wanted me to speak about. And so therefore I didn't have confidence in me, but I had confidence that he would give me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I needed. And he did, right? So when you can't feel that way about yourself, especially when you're first starting out, let faith lead you until the evidence catches up. Because confidence is, again, it's not thinking that you're better than other people. Confidence is no longer needing to pretend you are less. Confidence is no longer pretending that you are less. You don't need to pretend that you are less, because that's not what that is, right? And so most people are waiting to feel confident before they move. And that's why so many people stay stuck for years. They're waiting for certainty, waiting for fear to disappear, waiting to feel emotionally ready, waiting for some sort of guaranteed perfect timing, and for discomfort to leave. Meanwhile, the people who actually change lives are usually the people who decided to move while they still felt uncertain. I need you to hear that, because every step of the way, I'll always feel uncertain. I never know. I do, even I come here every single Sunday. I don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes my video gets 1 view. Sometimes it gets 4. Sometimes it gets 10. Sometimes it gets 20. But it's nowhere near the 1,000,000, 10,000 mark that other people get. But if I spent time worrying about that, then I wouldn't be operating in my purpose. You see what that, and it's like, I don't let that knock my confidence down. I know that the people who are supposed to hear it, hear it. And when it's supposed to reach the masses, it will, right? So what changed me after this retreat was not that fear disappeared. What changed me is now that I have evidence, right? So now I'm confident that I can lead a retreat. Okay. I proved to myself that I could carry the responsibility, and I could lead, and I could build something meaningful even while life was emotionally heavy around me. I talked about that last week, so you can go check out last Sunday's video where I talked about, what really happens when you start building. Because I think a lot of times people come and they give you the rainbows and sunshines and unicorns, the end of a thing, and not what happens in the beginning and the messy middle of it all. Okay. And so that kind of confidence that I now have, you can't fake it, you can't download it, you can't motivational equate it, you can't quote it, you can't AI it. There's no AI that could have done, and this is, people need to hear this. They're so afraid of it. There's no AI that could have done what I did in that retreat. There's no AI that could have got that generational transformation that happened in there. It was me being vulnerable, using my real life experiences, my training. This is why training is so important. If you want to be a coach, go get certified. It's important. Also, all the other training that I did, would go into mentors and different, I just invested in myself in so many areas. All of that came together at the retreat. No AI can do that. So if you're worried about AI, use it to the best of your ability. Now, I use AI a lot. I use it to help me in tweaking my content in such a way that it could really, really hit home. But also, it was not really my content. It was me, the energy that I brought to the environment. That's why working and developing you is going to be the most important thing. And that's how confidence is going to come, because as you grow more and more confident, because you're doing something, it changes, right? So every time you keep your words to yourself, confidence grows. Every time you break through, you follow through on something that you're uncomfortable uncomfortable about. You survive something, right? Or you stop running from the thing that fear told you to avoid. Your mind now builds a record of who you actually are because you are so much greater than what you are allowing yourself to be. I'm telling you, I know it. You know how I know? Because I did something was absolutely amazing, and I know there is more. There is more. And but that record becomes a foundation that my confidence can stand on. So my confidence is not built on something fake. It's not built on theory. It's not built on just me reading a few books. This book is built on the action, right? So what is that saying? This is why action changes people. More than overthinking ever will, because as long as you stay thinking about something, you're not in action, and so the action builds the evidence, which helps build the confidence. So I think many people just really don't trust themselves because they have developed a pattern of abandoning themselves. Whether, listen, whenever life becomes uncomfortable, you keep abandoning yourself, you keep stopping, you keep quitting, you keep talking yourself out of it. I was talking to a young lady yesterday. She kept all the stories, all the things. What platform should I use? Go start one. Let it build. It doesn't matter. But we get so hung up in the overthinking and we don't move. And so therefore our confidence is still lacking because we haven't gone to action. So the mind remembers inconsistency, right? The mind remembers every promise you made to yourself and did not keep it. I'm going to work out today. I don't do it. I'm going to have that hard conversation today. I don't do it. I'm going to express myself in a certain way today. I don't do it. I'm going to show up for somebody. I don't do it. I'm going to build my business. I don't do it. I'm going to go after that promotion. I don't do it. The brain consistently remembers that. But the beautiful thing is, the mind also reminds you when you follow through. Here's the biggest trick too. If you're just now starting to build and follow through after abandoning yourself for years, your mind is going to trick you into going back and thinking that, oh, I'm going to keep doing that thing over and over again. But just keep moving forward and knowing that that's not you anymore. That's not your story anymore. That's not where I live anymore. Listen, that's not where the people reside. Okay, I don't reside over there anymore. Tell yourself the new story, and you're going to have to keep pushing that within yourself over and over again. Make sure you're in a community of like-minded people, because the people that are surrounding you that don't know about or don't want to be anything bigger than who they are, and that doesn't make them bad, it just makes them who they are, they're not going to be the ones that need to help you. Get yourself with a coach. If it's something deep and trauma filled, get yourself in therapy. But as you continue to go, you're going to need those things. I call them my tools in my success toolbox that help you along the way. But the more you say what you mean and you mean what you say and move accordingly, the stronger your relationship with yourself becomes. And you're going to start to trust that. So confidence is built the moment your actions become louder than your fear. It has to become louder than your fear. But here's what happens. And people suffer from a lot of internal conflict, and human beings suffer deeply. And let me tell you why. When your desire for what you want, so you say you want this type of life, you say you want this type of love, you say that, you want to make this, earn this kind of money, but you're constantly fighting in doing the exact opposite. You say you want peace, but your habits keep feeding chaos. I'm going to say it again. Most people, oh, I want peace, but your habits keep feeding chaos. You want a healthy love, but your wounds keep choosing familiar dysfunction. You say you want growth, but fear keeps negotiating your comfort. You say you want growth, but you won't invest in the coach. You keep saying, oh, this is a scam. Oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this. You keep advocating for your lack. And then this is why you suffer. The story that you tell over and over again. My start was a 322-month welfare mother. Well, if I kept that same mentality and same mindset, I wouldn't be where I am today. I didn't allow money, which is a tool, to stop me from anything. I figured it out. Yes, I got loans. Whatever it took, the same thing people did to go to college, I did when it came to investing in myself and investing in my coaches. And it's paying off. The return on the reinvestment is me. The fact that the wisdom, the knowledge, the things that I'm able to do. I'm not worried about the tool of money because that's going to come. It always did. And the biggest proof I have is that retreat. I talked about it last week. I didn't make any money on that, but because I stewarded my money well, and because of certain things that happened where God just showed up for me, I had all the funds I needed. What am I saying to you? If God is telling you to do something, he'll help fund it. until the ROI comes. And now I understand how to do things a little bit differently next year so we can start to earn a profit, but you may not earn it. Again, that was last week's video, so you can go back there and check that out. But you say you want a different life while continue to protect the mindset, behaviors, and emotional patterns that keep you connected to the old one. So that internal division is what creates suffering, because there is a part of you trying to move forward while another part of you is terrified to let go of what feels familiar. I say it all the time. People rather stay in the known hell than the unknown heaven. It's so interesting when Moses parted the Red Sea, right? They listen, part of the Red Sea took them into the wilderness. What happened after they got there for a little while? They wanted to go back to Egypt. They're like, bump this. I saw the miracle. The miracle was cute and all whatnot, but I want to go back to my known hell than to create, hear me, than to create my heaven. Right? We were on our way, right, to the land of milk and honey. But on the way there, you have to create the heaven as if you're already there. Most people don't do that. They let their mind go back to the drift, and then they start drifting, and then they want to go back when they want to stay there. Is it going to be easy? No, but what is? Nothing. Life isn't easy. So if it's already not easy, go get something out of it. Go get some heaven up out of it. And so while you in the middle of the transition, you got to create your heaven. That's the only way I last. I'm not lasting because I'm perfect. I'm not lasting because I have so much more than other people. No, literally, I create things over in visions, and I speak I ams over myself. I know who I am, and I walk it. I make decisions from it. It's not easy. However, I had to create this so that in the middle, right, on the way from the old place in the wilderness to my land of milk and honey, I can keep going and not want to go back. So most people are not stuck because they don't lack potential. I say this all the time. It's because their fear has become their fear has become more believable than their vision. It's all fear when you get back to it. When fear and faith are constantly competing for the same space, that's what we call a double-minded man. And a double-minded man is unstable in all their ways. So your home is unstable, your love life is unstable, your business is unstable, your money is unstable because you are consistently double-minded. Instead of saying, okay, this is where I am right now, this is where I desire to be, what is it going to take for me to get there? What new story do I have to write? If you keep advocating for your lack, no one can help you. That's why I talked about this whole theory of no one's coming to save you. Oh, you don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. No, because you will advocate for your lack over and over again. I have conversations with people on a daily, and they're not all about money. I'm just talking to them, and I can instantly hear that, oh, but what about this? And oh, this, and oh, my kids. Okay, so now we blame the kids, we blame the husband, we blame everything except for the fact that we don't want to step out of our old stories. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen tomorrow. I've been doing these videos since 18. They haven't popped off, so to speak. I still keep going. Why is that? Because I saw the vision. And if you write the vision and make it plain, and you know who you are, you're going to keep making decisions from that place, not from a place of, oh, not so, no, I don't have that many followers. I don't have that many followers. I don't. Across Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. I think TikTok is maybe the biggest, about 6,000 people or so. But according to what everybody else has, I don't have a lot. But I don't allow what I have right now that's in reality to stop me from continuing to go, because I saw the vision. I know where he's taking me. You see? And so what am I doing now? I'm practicing. I'm practicing for when I hit that stage. I'm practicing now with my 7 and it was 12 women actually that was in that room. And when I realized God sent me the 12, my mind was blown. But I'm practicing now. I'm working through it now. And guess what? When I sat in that room with that 12, I serviced them as if there was 200,000 people in the room. That's the other thing too. So when you step into it, don't step into it like, oh, I'm only showing up because, but I only have 10 followers. I show up as if I have 200,000. I show up as if I have 1,000,000, and I go from there. And that's the way you got to keep working it until until it works, because the work works, right? So real change usually begins when what you want becomes emotionally stronger than your attachment to staying the same. You can't keep advocating for staying the same, but what you want has to become so much louder than your fear. Okay, so that's the moment where suffering begins to break because now you're making decisions that finally align with the life that you desire. You say you want more, but you don't go after more. You say you want more, but you don't do anything to get you there. Or you'll take 5 steps and go sit down. Let me tell you something. I took 100 steps, had to take 50 back, then had to take 25 forward, to take 10 back, to take 30 forward, to take, like, that's the way it goes. But if you quit on yourself in the middle of it, then you keep starting over. Instead of understanding that sometimes it's like a boomerang. He pulls that thing back and then you'll launch forward. So I wanted to say that because we always think it's easy. No, it doesn't mean that life becomes easy when you start to get in alignment. It means you stop betraying yourself in the process. And so when you stop betraying yourself, what are you building? You're building confidence in your action. And I think one of the greatest forms of peace is when when your life finally starts matching what your soul is really craving, because that was put on the inside of you from the beginning of time. And when I say from the beginning of time, your time. So there's always something that's built inside of us. It's not outside. Sometimes externally, somebody will say something that triggers something in you. That's why I think triggers are so important. People always want to run from the trigger. I run towards them. I love a trigger. Let me tell you something. Why? Because a trigger is an awareness. It may be an awareness of something that you're about to grow into. It may be an awareness of something that needs to be healed or something that you've outgrown. But you don't know it until you have that awareness, right? So suffering increases when your vision and your behavior keep moving in opposite directions. I'm going to say it again. Suffering increases when your vision and your behavior are moving in opposite directions. Oh, I want to, have muscle. I want to release this weight, but you don't go to the gym. You don't eat healthy. Now you're suffering. Now you're upset. You're depressed. All the things because you're not moving. Or sometimes, because I'm gonna say this too, sometimes you're moving, but you don't think it's not happening as quickly as you would like it to happen. It's not moving the way you want it to move, right? So it's the expectation that it should move quickly. How do I know? I lived in that same place. I did that to myself for years. And then I finally was like, wait a minute. I really don't have no control over that. What I do have control over is me and how I show up and continue to show up and do the things that I said I was going to do, say what I mean and mean what I say, and I'm going to let God do the rest, right? And that doesn't mean that I don't have a team and stuff like that. I had to also grow to that. Now I have, people who are doing my videos and stuff for me. And next I'm going to hire a social media team, because also I realized that I'm in my corporate career, plus I'm building a business. I can't do it all. Delegation is going to be the key. And it's not gonna be easy to find the people who are for you, but I'm telling you, if you build it, they will come. And as I keep building it, they keep coming, and it's working. So the work works. If I would have quit in 2019 and 2020 and 2021 when nobody was really watching my videos, I would get 0 views. Guess what? I wouldn't be where I am today. And to somebody that may have more than me may say, oh, you're not really that far, but they don't get it. They don't get it. This is my journey. My journey wasn't supposed to look like this. I need somebody to hear me. My journey wasn't supposed to look like theirs. They hit when they hit, and I'll hit when I hit, and you'll hit when you hit. Feel me? Okay, I love it. So one thing I've learned this year too is that my emotions. This because I want to talk about emotions. Most people think their emotions are weak. Oh, I'm crying. I cried every day. I talked about that. They're not. Emotions are not interruptions of your growth. Okay. Human beings were created with emotions for a reason. You think we have all these emotions for no reason? No. Fear, sadness, grief, disappointment, uncertainty, joy, anger, vulnerability, frustration all carry awareness. I want to talk about it because they're just coming to make you aware. They may make you aware of the fact of you want to control everything in your life. And so because you have such control issues, it's making you aware. You got to let go. You have to surrender. You have to be hands up, don't shoot. You got to let loose and let go. It's an awareness. It may be an awareness that you procrastinate. It may be an awareness that you overthink. It may be an awareness that you need some help because you're all over the place. Your business is all over the place. You can't keep up. So it's an awareness. And so I want you to tap into that. They reveal what matters to you and what needs healing, what needs attention, what's unsafe. You got to feel what you're feeling. That's why a lot of times we get ourselves in trouble. You got to be able to trust that feeling too. It brings discernment, right? And it also, especially when we talk about safety, when you walk in somewhere you feel unsafe, you got to listen to that and move accordingly, right? Or it's where growth is trying to happen. So sometimes in the middle of growth, you're gonna feel like so it's uncertain. I felt overwhelmed. I felt uncertain. All those things. The problem is not the emotions themselves. The problem is when emotions become the sole authority figure over your decision. If your emotions become the sole authority figure over decisions, you're gonna have a problem. Here's why. I'm talking about me. Before my retreat, I told you I had fear. Fear was all up and through me. And here's the thing, but I didn't let fear be in charge of me. Pressure was there. I had a lot of pressure, but I would not let pressure be in charge of me. Uncertainty was there, but I didn't let uncertainty run me. I acknowledged the emotions, and my thing was I was tapping into why it was there. I like control. I like certainty, just like most humans. Hello, somebody. Hello, but I acknowledged why they were there without surrendering to them. I acknowledge. How did I acknowledge them? I journaled them out. Some days I cried them out. I acknowledged them. They're there to let me know, hey, you're stepping into something big. This is you're stepping into something bigger than you've ever done. This is your Mount Kilimanjaro. You're stepping up. Oh my God, I'm nervous. Oh my God, I have fear. I'm uncertain. Absolutely. But when you can acknowledge it without allowing it to run you, that's a different way of living. And so people want to suppress their emotions and completely drown what's inside of them. That does not create freedom. Emotional maturity is being able to freely to feel deeply without allowing every emotion to redirect your entire life. That's why most people up and leave their relationship, and it's a good one because they allow their emotions. I'm overwhelmed. I'm anxious. Anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. What do? Flee. Same thing in business. Oh my God, it's not working. Anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. Flee. Not realizing most business take a good 5 years to really get off the ground. And it's so different depending upon what business you are in. So sometimes fear is not confirmation that you should stop. Sometimes it's a confirmation that what you're doing is on a larger scale than you've ever stepped into before. So therefore, it feels really scary, as it should. If what you're doing in life doesn't scare you a little bit, doesn't make your stomach twist a little bit, then why? What are you doing? You're just staying safe. I'm just going to be safe all my life. We get this to do this thing one time. You're just going to play it safe all your life when there's something big and better out here for you. And what you're going to do is going to transcend generations. I keep going because I know my kids is watching. And if they're watching, when they have their kids are going to watch, and their kids are going to know that because of my great, 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 great grandmother who refused to let her emotions run her life, and she kept moving forward. Now we can be authors, we can be speakers, we can do whatever we want to do. And that's literally what I teach. We can be entrepreneurs. We can work a corporate career if we want to. Your emotions are messengers, not masters of your life. Okay? I need you to hear that. They're here for war. You can't keep numbing them out and suppressing them and running from everything. Running from everything doesn't solve anything. As a matter of fact, all you're going to do is take that into the next place and the next place and the next place. If you're doing it in your relationships, you're going to just take from relationship to relationship to relationship. And this is why healing is so important. This is why understanding your emotions is so important. These are the things that, in order to be successful in any area of life, these are things you have to step into. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It's time for you to get a singular point of vision and focus on that. Go after that bullseye. Remember, feelings aren't facts, okay? So get the fact of a thing before you move. Journal these things out. Don't be afraid to feel what you're feeling, and know that if it's really scary, it's a beautiful thing. If it's really scary, it's a beautiful thing. And I'll say this too. When I jumped out of an airplane last year in November, it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. But when we jumped out that plane and God allowed me to see the world from an eagle's view, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever done in my life. And so after the fear comes the beauty. After the fear comes the beauty. So if there's one thing I hope you understand after this conversation, is that confidence is not something you wait to receive. It's simply just not going to come because you snap your finger. It's something that you build through movement, integrity, keeping your word. Your word is everything. Your name and your word, all you have in this life. Keep your word. Stand in integrity when nobody is watching. So many people are not in integrity. They're out here talking one thing and living something different. And I promise you, you come up in here and meet me, meet my kids, they'll tell you one thing for certain and two things for sure. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And it's not always easy. I don't always get it right. There's no such thing as perfection. But I'm not here for perfection. I'm here for growth. You understand me? I don't care nothing about no perfection. I want to grow. And if you're perfect, you don't grow. How about that? If you're perfect, you don't grow. And so if from your resilience and your confidence is going to come from the resilience and follow through and the repeated proof that you are capable of more than what fear told you, because that's what happens. The fear is telling you one thing, and I'm like, yo, faith is something different altogether. Let's do it. Fear was like, oh, what if nobody signed up? God was like, they'll be there. So you see, even though I didn't have confidence in me, I had confidence. I got confidence in what God gonna do. Okay, that's a bad man. Okay, or some people think it's a woman. I'm not here again to argue with you. However common you look at it, I'm just saying. So the people who transform their lives they're not the people with the least amount of fear. They have the most amount of fear, but they won't let the fear stop them from being the leader in their life. I always say I'm the CEO of my life. I hire and fire accordingly, right? So I look at who I was before this retreat and who I am after it, and the greatest difference is the fact that I trust myself more. I trust myself more because I know what it took for me. That's the thing too. I know what it took for me to continue building despite everything, all the pressure, the fear, the uncertainty, the emotional weight that I was carrying. It was wintertime was really, really tough for me. Again, I talked about that last week and check that out. I cried every single day, and because all the stuff I was carrying behind the scenes. And I think I don't think I know that what many people are truly searching for is really not a life without discomfort or fear. It's a version of themselves that never has to struggle. And the thing about it is we all have to struggle to get to where we're trying to get. Now I want to say we all, some people don't struggle. And I want to say that too, because I don't want people to think, oh, I gotta always struggle. Not everything I did was a struggle, right? But it's like you have to search. I don't want to say you have to. You should search for the version that of yourself that you actually trust. So what do I mean by that? Start to write the story of who you want to become. What does that person look like that you can trust fully with the vision? I had to do that with myself. I had to write that story. Okay. And so I think that people really are searching for a version of themselves that they can really trust. But you have to write that story. You have to write who it is, how they move, who are they around, what do they do, how do they think, right? So that becomes really, really important because it's going to help you build the evidence, right? So once you start to trust yourself, then you're going to start to move in that way, right? And so you won't be quitting every single time. And so you'll have the history and the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding. Like, listen, no matter what happens, I know that I can keep going. I know that I can stay. Listen, I had to pivot many times. I went from the fitness business to now from the coaching to the speaking, all the things, right? The only thing that keeps me going is the simple fact of I have evidence and I have proof now that I can do certain things. And now I'm going to be with the retreat model, which I think I'm going to stick with because that's been the vision that I've seen for myself. For years was this retreat model and what it was, because I knew it was going to bring generational transformation, right? So I'm just telling you, the version of you that you are waiting for is not built on inspiration, motivation, not even from listening to me. It's going to be built from taking what you hear and applying it to your life. Okay. And so I want you to go out here and build the thing that you want to build. Don't quit on yourself. Know that it's possible. Know that it can happen, but you got to keep going. The difference between them and you is that they kept going. That's the only difference. No one is better, but we are all different. So take your differences and go out there and build the life that you desire to build, knowing that the confidence will come after the evidence and not before, and have confidence in God and what He will do through you and to you until you can build that confidence in yourself. And I love you so much. And don't let them emotions run your life. Okay. I love you. And I will talk to you next week. Bye now.